Last week, we went to Pokemon Island and asked the big question, why are there so many Pokemon? The answer is biodiversity in the real world and in the Pokemon universe as well. If you think that's a little bit of a stretch, then you should probably watch the episode. But for those of you who already have, let's see what you had to say. John Stames and many others pointed out with much understandable rage and fury that Pokemon do in fact eat each other. I had stated something to the contrary, and if I had read the Pokédex entries for 5 or 6 of the over 700 Pokemon in a few games, I would obviously know that. So there's obviously some core irony in that, an episode in which we sort of examine the rationale for the sheer size of the Pokemon universe, I would make a mistake relating to a couple of them. So please forgive me for not having read every single Pokédex entry in every single game. We'll try to do that for the next episode. Regardless, if you do say that bird-type Pokemon do eat insect-type Pokemon, that bolsters my larger point that biodiversity is even more fundamental to the Pokeverse than I had originally thought. But thank you for pointing that out. Another popular comment, as illustrated here by NoirRaven and a lot of very cynical Pokemon fans, is that Game Freak makes new Pokemon so that they'll have new content. That way people will buy the new games, merchandise, and other media, and this results in big profits. There's a shred of truth to that. Pokemon is a commercial enterprise, it's gotta make money, but I'm not sure that it's the whole case. As I talked about way back when in the very first episode, games tend to operate by what's called a first mover's advantage, which is this idea that the initial big sellers in a market tend to outperform new entrants significantly, which is why IP like Mario and Zelda seem to exist in perpetuity. So from a selling standpoint, it would probably make more sense from a crass commercial standpoint to keep Pikachu and a core set of canonical Pokemon in the spotlight over and over again from game to game to game, instead of the current approach, which is just to release hundreds of wildly different Pokemon, which makes me think that there's something to this idea of biodiversity, that you have this ecological balance, but there's also this commercial balance as well, so that no single group of Pokemon overshadows all of the rest. Wooden Coyote makes a very astute observation that Pokemon is Japanese and influenced by Shintoism, and the reason that there are so many odd-seeming non-organic Pokemon is because of Tsukumogami. I had to look it up, but these are basically creatures from Buddhist folklore which possess different objects like futons and mirrors and sake jars. So this means for Game Freak that a pair of keys is just as legitimate a type of Pokemon as, a variant on a cat or a tiger or something like that. This all goes to show the cultural significance of Pokemon, which I talked about in the episode, but excellent comment, Wooden Coyote. Another reason for the great variety in Pokemon, as Ryu Ramasama and a few others of you explain, is for professional competition. Pokemon is not just a world to explore, but it's a very nuanced battling game. One reason that Game Freak keeps adding more to the pool is to ensure that the game remains fresh at the highest level, just like how Riot keeps adding new champions to League of Legends. Without it, everything would stagnate, with players using the same exact builds over and over again. As NoForksGiven aptly puts, even the stupidest looking Pokemon have their uses in competitive play. And just as a reminder, we have a little survey down in the description. We're really interested in what who you are and what you think about in the world. We want input from you on the things that you like, the things you don't like, not just in games, but outside of games, what YouTube channels you enjoy watching. All of your thoughts and concerns we will take into consideration as we're thinking about the look and feel for new episodes. So we would really appreciate your input. Again, link in the description, and we're looking forward to what you have to say.